We embrace the idea of studying and enjoying fashion as a real form of art. And the goal of the museum was to make sure that we had a collection that stood up to the rest of the art in the museum. And at Phoenix Art Museum, we really do have a goal of moving in that direction and making sure we have a beautiful collection of Indigenous works and works that reflect this part of the country and this part of the community. We've been around for a long time. We have a very large collection. We have over 9,000 objects spanning from the late 1700s to present.
Wow.
So it's exciting to be able to experience some of the exhibitions that celebrate the earliest of fashion that we have.
Looking for real stories of real people making a difference in the Grand Canyon State? Welcome to Finding Arizona podcast. We sit down with Arizona's inspiring entrepreneurs, creatives, and community leaders and give you a front row seat to their journeys, passions, and projects. Whether you're a local trying to find a hidden gem or just enjoy watching someone chase their dreams, Finding Arizona is your go-to place for authentic conversations with a desert twist. New episodes drop weekly, so hit subscribe and start exploring Arizona one story at a time.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose, and as always, we bring in fantastic guests every week, and today is no different. Sitting in front of me is Donna, and actually, I would love to say Donna has been championing the stories behind the stitches, from iconic designers to craftsmanship that defines our style through the decades. She's here to share how fashion isn't just what we wear, but a reflection on who we are as a community and how Arizona's creative spirit continues to influence the world of design. So get ready for a conversation that's equal parts glamour, history, and inspiration with the very stylish Donna Johnson. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So actually, I didn't even say what the name of the business or nonprofit that we're actually going to be talking about is the Arizona Costume Institute, which you are the board president currently.
Yes.
So I will now ask you the question that we have first here is, can you tell us about the Arizona Costume Institute and how it came to be part of the Phoenix community?
Absolutely. So the Phoenix Art Museum was founded in 1959, and only 7 years later, in 1966, a group of courageous and amazing volunteers got together and decided to found the Arizona Costume Institute. The institute was originally led by the first female trustee of the museum. Her name is Virginia Ullman, and numerous influential women, but including the Met's fashion curator Stella Blum, the Honorable Claire Booth Luce, who was a war correspondent and former fashion editor. So it really brought together some amazing women in our community as early as 1966, which is so exciting.
Wow. Quickly, I like to be a little bit personal, but just from your perspective, how does that make you feel to be a part of such a lineage of not only incredible people who have a strong belief that this thing that is what we call fashion is so important, but also such a female, just lineaged as well?
Yes, well, first of all, I feel very honored to have been asked to hold this position. The women who came before me as president of the board are all exceptional, and many of them have a lot of education in fashion. I did not study fashion in college, but I did have early experience working for Nordstrom in their couture department, so I became a big fan early on. I got involved through the luncheon, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, as one of the chairs. But this group is just an amazingly impressive group of women and men. One of our largest donors recently donated $1 million, and a gentleman, and he stood up at our last luncheon with that generous offer. So we actually have quite a few men who are excited about it, but this is a women-led group for the most part.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I'm a fond member of like fashion. I may not be up there in the style department, but I do have an appreciation and I empathize with, especially in the men's area where it's like, there's such a beauty when it comes to the textures, the textiles. Like, so
Absolutely.
I went to school for design, for landscape architecture, but in that grouping of all of those majors is actual like fashion and design.
Yes.
And so I, rubbed elbows with the students there, and I was very impressed by what they brought out for their projects and how they learned their own techniques, and just, a fan for sure.
Yes.
And, you can't run away from fashion. It's everywhere. It's all encompassing, and it's involved in every bit of entertainment and what we do everyday life. And it's a part of our actual day-to-day when we put on our clothes as well.
Absolutely, yes. And it ranges from high to low as far as, that barriers to entry don't exist in fashion. There are many exciting opportunities in the thrifting arena, as well as the high-end couture houses in Paris.
I could
New York
talk
and Milan.
hours about the thrifting portion of it, because that's actually kind of my bread and butter, where it was like I really do look for those special pieces when I go thrifting, or when I go. That's both my wife and I like. We like to do that sort of thing, where we like to look out for certain pieces that we can find and that are timeless. That's what we call them.
And they become one of a kind, because no one else is going to be buying them today.
Absolutely. So what inspired ACI's mission to support fashion design and preservation here in Arizona?
Well, years ago, people used to look at Arizona fashion as sort of a caricature of, chaps and patio dresses and textiles that would be reflective of sort of Western culture. And I think the women in our community wanted everyone to realize that Arizona is actually a fashion powerhouse. We have beautifully dressed women and men. We embrace the idea of studying and enjoying fashion as a real form of art. And the goal of the museum was to make sure that we had a collection that stood up to the rest of the art in the museum.
Yeah, I find that it's compelling, because from my own sense of, just historical fashion and where I grew up, particularly, it's a certain element that in our traditions, we were talking off air, I'm Native, I'm Hopi on my mother's side. There are traditional garbs, and fashion out there's certain level of importance to the coloring, to what goes into a dress, or even for the men, some of the more garbs that are robes and things like that. And what is placed on you has meaning, from the level of color to also the textures. What you'll see, if you go to the Heard Museum, the feathers, all of the traditional items that go along with it. Every single piece has an importance, but as we've grown as a community and as a tribe, there's an evolution to how it's being made and what goes into those pieces. So I find it very interesting from the standpoint of, as we evolve as humans and as community, we are also evolving our understanding of what we use in our everyday. And so that's very fascinating to me, that the preservation of all of these pieces is important, because we want to show and share the evolution of us as a community and us as a human species, because we can you can look back. I mean, I know at the Art Museum they had a exhibit, or still have an exhibit, of all the certain types of dresses and things like that it's so beautiful to me, because again, I go back to my own traditions and just understanding that we're not all so different. We all evolve. We all try and make our own pieces and our own things and progress it forward. So I really do find that really interesting, from the standpoint that ACI is doing so much to share that type of information and that.
And in fact, tomorrow night we have an event with Ralph Lauren with a woman named Naomi Glasses, who is Ralph Lauren's first ever artist in residence. She's a Navajo designer, and she has the most beautiful textiles. And so we are going to be able to immerse ourselves in her beautiful work, as well as her jewelry, and now a furniture and furnishings line. So very exciting to celebrate that. And and at Phoenix Art Museum, we really do have a goal of moving in that direction and making sure we have a beautiful
Yeah.
collection of Indigenous works and works that reflect this part of the country and
Yeah.
this part of the, community.
Now I see right now, this is just a little anecdote from my end. It's just that I know from a standpoint of being here in the Southwest, there's a lot of women who tend to go that Navajo route, where the traditional side, where it's like the turquoise, the traditional
yes.
jewelry and stuff like that. But you have not gone that route today. But I just wanted to make a comment. I was like, I always see, those women who embrace that Southwest life is just like one of the things that kind of is more prevalent. It is the wearing
Yes.
of the turquoise and the traditional jewelry and
Absolutely.
stuff like that.
Actually, a group of us were at the Heard Museum's gala last week, and everyone was dressed in celebration of those looks and textiles.
Yeah.
It was
Do
really
you have
fabulous.
Do you have any turquoise yourself?
I do, although
Awesome.
I have a girlfriend, Beth McCrae, who has the most fabulous collection of turquoise of anyone I know, and so I actually borrow that from time to time.
That's awesome.
My collection is not as good as hers.
Yes, I imagine this because I go back to like the people that I see and know, and it's just like, I have one piece, and it's a bolo tie. And it's from my godfather who has passed, and he was a jeweler.
Beautiful.
And my clan is Spider Clan, and he made a giant bolo tie with a giant spider made out of silver, and in the body of it is turquoise, and it's one of my
Sounds fabulous.
favorite pieces.
Really special.
Okay, so what makes ACI unique among other fashion art organizations in the region?
Well, first of all, I would say it's longevity. We've been around for a long time. We have a very large collection. We have over 9,000 objects spanning from the late 1700s to present.
Wow.
So it's exciting to be able to experience some of the exhibitions that celebrate the earliest of fashion that we have. Think Pride and Prejudice or
Yeah.
Gone with the Wind,
Yeah.
up to the most avant-garde, most wild and exciting current fashions. So our collection not only is large, but it spans so many unique perspectives on fashion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's incredible too, because when you talk about some of these organizations who are just in their infancy, there are some things that you can miss, and the fact that you guys have been around for so long gives you guys credit to you and to everyone who's been a part of this ACI's past and present. It's amazing that as young as also the state is
Yes.
comparative to the others, that there are things of value or things of the tradition of those 1700s that are still can be seen today.
Absolutely, and we've dedicated 6,000 square feet, generously donated by Kelly Ellman and or endowed by her, and so we are always showing a different exhibition of some fabulous collection of fashion with different themes and timelines, but always just a very exciting view on what's happening in fashion or what has happened over time.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we've gotten into that portion of like understanding that this is something that evolves over time, that's actually going to be my next question is, how has ACI grown or evolved over the years, both in membership, but also in the scope of its impact?
Well, it's evolved by, starting with a smaller group of women who were passionate about creating this fashion collection. And over the years, we've grown to over 250 members. Our board of directors has raised, alongside our chairs of our fashion fundraisers, millions of dollars. That provides the opportunity for our fashion curator, Helen Jean. She's the Jackie Dorrance Curator of Fashion at the ACI Institute, and we allow her to give us her wish list each season of things that she would love to invest in, and that allows us to be a part of the decision making and at the same time give her the latitude to really grow the collection in a way that is exciting and responsible and gives the audience more than they would expect.
Yeah. Has she, I have a few questions now that I know that there's actual curator.
Oh, yes.
does she have like a storage unit filled with these items that
We
don't
have
always?
a vault.
Okay.
Fashion is interesting because it has to be preserved and taken care of
Yeah.
in such a specific way. And
Yeah,
each
because the
object
metals,
is-
the metals and the textiles are all different. and-
Yes, and I mean, just having any scents or plants or humidity or things like that near the objects is, it can be an issue. So she has a team of people that work tirelessly to make sure we are preserving that collection beautifully. And we only bring it out from time to time in a special way, very planned way, so that people can see portions of our collection at any given time, but you'll never see the whole collection. We do have a range of membership levels, and our higher level members are invited to come down into the vault from time to time and
awesome.
actually see the vault itself and the objects within the vault, and that's an exciting opportunity too.
Have you guys ever done like a kind of a video production where you pull out some of the items, or just, kind of?
Well, we did just have an event about 2 weeks ago, and that was a member event that all of our members were invited to, where Helen ran through a slideshow of many of the objects that have
Beautiful.
been purchased over time or donated over time. We have lots of very generous donors that have offered their items. But she also went into kind of her aspirational goals. So it was
That's
really
what I was
fun.
going into next.
Yes, so we got to see what is and what she would like, for us to become.
And just my last tangent for this area, where it's like her aspiration, her wish list. What has been one of your favorites that she's requested? And also, has there ever been something where you're just like, it blew your mind as far as a request?
Really, the 7 or 8 objects that she showed at this presentation, all were inspiring, but they each had a different point of view. So there was a Native American designer who was working in quite an avant-garde way, where his pieces were sort of deconstructed.
Okay.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Male designer, male pieces. So I think that would be really interesting. There are objects that are inspired by denim, as an example. So, denim has been a staple of fashion for many, many years,
Yeah.
but people are taking it in all different directions now. And so she has a few ideas in that realm. I really was excited about everything she presented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, because when you talk about curation, there's so many directions that an individual person can go down. And to keep it just funny, because I'm like I get in the weeds of these things where it's just like, those types of individuals, they're so unique. And I imagine like her everyday garb is something completely different every single time you see her or like encounter her or something like that. It's just.
Yes, I mean, I think all the people that are involved with the group bring their own sense of fashion.
Yeah.
Some are, more conservative, and others are more avant-garde or boho or,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. And we've had a nod to all of that
That's great.
in the collection. So people like Anna Swee or Dame Sandra Rhodes, who are known for their bright colors and eclectic, personalities and collections, are in our collection, as well as some, Christian Dior or, some beautiful,
Yeah.
very elegant pieces, of course.
I'm now going to go into kind of, you brought up the luncheon and what happens in one of your larger events. So this question is very important. So ACI's holiday luncheon is December 8th, and it's one of the most anticipated events of the season. What makes this luncheon such a special, defining moment for the organization, but also how can people attend, support, or get involved with ACI, specifically with the upcoming holiday luncheon?
Yes, so we're very excited about the upcoming luncheon. The luncheon is the largest fundraiser that we have for the museum. We are considering bringing in another fundraiser in the May timeframe, which I can talk about later.
Yeah.
But this luncheon is special because it really kicks off the holidays for all of us.
Yeah.
It's December 8th, as you said, so it's always early December. People come out in their most fun and festive clothing. We always have really interesting speakers from a gentleman named Stephen Jones, who was the milliner to the Royals. So we got
Oh,
to
wow.
see the hats and the creations, and a little bit of the behind the scenes stories of working with some of his clients, which was really fun. We had Christian Siriano last year, who was himself a contestant on Project Runway and now is a host of Project Runway and is, just making huge headlines in fashion around the world. And we recently procured one of his items that he created specifically for the museum, and it is spectacular, and it can be seen from time to time. You have to look at our website to know when it's out and on display, but really special. So our speakers are always amazing. This year we have Veronica Beard, and a lot of people would have assumed that Veronica Beard is one person, but she is actually two people, two women named Veronica Beard, sisters-in-law, both happen to have the first name Veronica. So they're both going to be with us. They're going to present a beautiful fashion show, and they're really exciting because they span the whole array of clothing, from workout clothes to beautiful blazers to evening wear. So we're super excited to see them when they come.
Yeah. It's such a funny little tidbit to have two sister-in-laws.
Yes, that was news to me a while ago. So I think that's very exciting. And it's the first time we've had two speakers, as far as I know, at the luncheon. So that's fun too.
I'm kind of curious from the standpoint of, as an individual who's probably just learning about ACI and just kind of going about it, you did bring up off air, this event actually sells out pretty fast.
It does.
And so where in that standpoint are you guys at right now? And then also, if you do sell out all of those tickets, tell us a little bit about the other event that you are trying to
I'll start with this one. So we only have several tickets at the $1,000 level left. So we're really, really close to being sold out this year. We are still very eager to accept raffle items, luxury raffle items, if anyone's interested in helping us with that. For next year, a person might want to become a member of both the museum and ACI. You can go to the websites for either organization to do that.
Nice.
And that would allow early information about the luncheon, because it does sell out very quickly, especially the base level tickets. So if people are interested in attending next year, if they join the museum, that's a requirement of being a member of ACI. There are reasonable entry points for both of those memberships, and then we'd love to see them at next year's luncheon.
Awesome.
Skipping to we have two events that are coming up. One on February 13th with a woman named Valerie Steele. And I want to make sure I have my notes about her because she's so amazing and I don't want to miss out on anything about her. So she is the director and curator of the Fashion Institute of Technology. And she's a fashion historian, sometimes called fashion's brainiest woman.
Oh, nice.
She has more than 40 books on the history of fashion and fashion designers, and tickets are going to be available starting in January. So that'll be a fabulous evening event and lecture by Valerie Steele, who is an incredible part of the fashion world. Then after that, on May 4th, we're going to be doing an event aligned with the Met Gala, and more will be revealed on that because we are just in the early planning stages. But it's a very fun event where we bring people together and they are able to dress in the theme of the current Met Gala. You mentioned menswear, and last year the theme of the Met Gala was dandyism. So men and women came in their sharpest dandy looks. So for example, a woman might wear a tuxedo look, or a man might have worn a kilt with a blazer. So it was a very fun way for people to come out in their vision of dandyism and to support the museum and to watch the award ceremony all together. So it was really fun.
I love that. That's actually really
fun.
Event. Really, really fun. And I've seen kind of like this understanding of like the Met Gala being what it is in New York, and just kind of trying to transition or participate in different states and things like that, where I think it's just so beautiful because it's such a tradition for that event that it should be celebrated in as many ways possible, because I
Absolutely.
think there are a lot of people who want to participate or at least join in, but cannot go to New York themselves.
Right, not everyone's going to get an invitation to the Met Gala, but
Exactly.
everyone in Arizona or beyond can get an invitation to our Met Gala event.
So we talked a little bit about involvement, and so I tend to be as a participant as much for our listeners as much as I can. So this next question is, what advice, and you touched upon it already a little bit, but what advice would you give to someone who wants to get involved or support the organization like ACI?
So the basic way would be to become a member, as I
Yes.
just mentioned. We also have a holiday luncheon committee.
Oh.
Those members come together and they support the chairs of the event by helping with our raffle,
Yeah.
helping with table sales, helping with promoting sponsorships, that sort of thing. So that committee is a fun group to be a part of early on with
Yeah.
ACI, because you do meet a lot of other fashion lovers and fashionistas.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're working for a great cause and helping raise money for the museum. So it's a great all around opportunity. We also have, the next level would be to eventually become a committee member related to the board of directors, or
Yeah.
down the road, a member of the board. So there are various levels and various levels of membership, as I mentioned. So there's a base level of membership, and then it moves to a higher level of patronage, and with each of those levels, sometimes we have some different benefits. For example, our highest level, haute couture, is offered a chance to travel to places like New York or London,
Nice.
and have just a handful of really exciting fashion-related behind the scenes opportunities, that kind of thing. So
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm very curious, because this is such a unique opportunity from the standpoint of what you guys offer and what you guys are about. It popped into my head about, in Arizona, there's a fashion week that is also in
Yes.
other parts of the states. Is there an involvement that ACI has with Fashion Week, or does there?
we have not had a direct interaction with
Yeah.
Fashion Week, but our board members and our committee members are oftentimes very much insiders in the Phoenix fashion community.
Perfect.
So we do hear about local events and are invited to them and support them. There's a chance that we might get more involved. In fact, as you say
Perfectly
that,
fine.
my wheels are turning.
Yeah.
Because I do think that, having our group be more involved with that would
Yeah.
make perfect sense. But definitely our group is attending and supporting
Yeah.
Phoenix Fashion Week.
I think that
and
would be.
Scottsdale Fashion Week and Arizona Fashion Week.
Yeah.
There are a few.
It's just one of those things, because I myself get asked to be involved, or at least go and attend certain events where I'm just I would love to. And we're very busy. We have a very the schedule gets busy around that time, and so that's one of those things where it's there are certain things that I can get involved with that I try my best to make time for, but it's our scope of work kind of goes all throughout different genres, not just fashion. So
Sure.
sometimes I can't make it to certain things, and I'm only one man. And so I also have a son that's 4 years old that takes a big
little
chunk
bit of time.
yeah,
Yes,
a little bit
I've
of
been
time. So again, it dawned on me where I was oh man, it's such an easy connection to see ACI involved in Fashion Week. So you said your head
We'll
was turning.
see you at the Met Gala event.
There you go. I love that. Thank you
Got
so
plenty
much.
of time to plan.
Looking ahead, what's next for ACI? Any exciting new exhibits, collaborations, or initiatives on the horizon?
Yes, absolutely. So currently we have an exhibition that is called Greatest Fits, and it examines the fit and history of fashion, and it's a beautiful exhibit that can be seen now. However, we are having a new exhibit, sort of a transition of this same exhibit, starting in April 2026, and it's called Greatest Fits, Tiny Wonders, Hidden Treasures.
Oh, nice.
And it examines things like the accessories and the hats and shoes and shawls and brooches and purses and things like that that have come into our collection. So it actually takes the vast, look at fashion and brings it down to the smallest and sort of those items that take an outfit from special to spectacular.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really exciting exhibit. The exhibit that's there now is also really special and has a broad array of garments and features that I think people would want to see.
I think it's amazing that you guys have such an extensive vault, and it's important too, because I look at some of the things that, pictures from elders of other generations before myself, and I want to know where those things went, like,
Yes.
how well cared they were for the time period or whatever it may be. But I just look at different items of, like, you look at old pictures and you're like, wow, I wonder what happened to that garment,
yes,
or wow,
yes.
what happened to that piece, or things like that. So it's wonderful that you guys are doing the work that you're doing, because I really do think it's important from the standpoint of a historical piece.
Right, and it's an examination of culture over the ages,
Yeah.
and how women in particular have evolved, from wearing things that are fully to the ground with bustles and then to form-fitting and more, waist-enhancing garments to shorter,
Yeah.
showing, the calves and maybe even the knees. So it's been an exciting trend line for fashion, and we have examples of all of that.
I love it. And I want to just extend a thank you to you, because I know that this is sometimes a little intimidating to do,
Yes, it is.
these things, but it's also a greatly of importance from the standpoint of ACI needing representation.
Yes.
And so I want to just, again, applaud you for coming in, for taking the moment with us, but also applaud you on just your style alone, because
you.
I'm just so impressed. And it goes to say, without you as someone who's wanting to advocate for this, but also just, again, how much you yourself are in it and love it and are a believer and stylist for yourself. It's just
Thank you.
incredible. So thank you.
Well, and
guys.
I learned from, my fellow fashionistas that I get to circulate with all the time and get some tips and ideas. So that's really fun. But thank
Beautiful.
you very much for having me. Of
course.
I love the opportunity to support this group. I remember my husband saying, the Costume Institute, is that like costume? What is that about?
Yeah.
And I had to give him a little education. So hopefully today I've been able to share some of the
Absolutely.
amazing things about the work we're doing. And I hope everybody will get involved.
Yeah. Before you step away from the microphone and leave us today, I usually let the audience get a chance to hear where they can find you. If you have all of the social media and all the website stuff, it's your time to promote. The floor is yours.
Well, you definitely can go to phoenixart.org
Yeah.
for the museum's website. Our website is ArizonaCostumeInstitute.org.
Yeah.
Our social media you can find just by putting in either of those terms on any of the platforms. And it's fun to follow our Instagram, because that does show what events are coming up and
Yeah.
things that people might want to get involved in. And again, we would just love for people to try an event, see how much they like it.
Oh,
If
for
they
sure.
like fashion, I think they're really going to enjoy being part of what we do.
Yeah, if they have any curiosity, I have
Yes.
no doubt being involved with something like this
Yes.
would definitely hit all of those notes and stuff like that. Is there anything we missed? I don't want to walk away.
One last thing, if a person is not quite ready to join because they just aren't familiar enough, we do have an event on a first Friday, the 1st of May, that is free to the public, and it will have a beautiful exhibition that people can tour and get to be familiar, become more familiar with what we do, and also activities, art activities and installations and things like that. So it's a perfect opportunity for someone to put their toe in the water.
Yeah.
May 1st, please join us.
Awesome. Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, you can hear all of our episodes at findingarizonapodcast.com. We make it easy for everyone to find us online, social media wise. That's Finding Arizona Podcast under everything. But I do have a little bit of an outro. This thing that we say all the time after every episode is kisses, hugs, and belly rubs to our four-legged friends, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.